Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. So we have some more updates for the pistol brace rule, which is Mock v. Garland. It was tried on Monday in the Supreme Court, actually. The Supreme Court heard it. And there is a stay still in place for those that were in the actual named plaintiffs of the case. Now, they haven't suspended the order outright yet, and it looked very bleak if you read the panel. I've watched Washington Gun Law, and I've watched a couple other things. There's a lot of evidence here, or a lot of people commenting on this particular thing, because we're all kind of affected by it, or a lot of us are. I put myself in that because I am always in the fight for the 2A. I don't own any of these anymore, mostly because I didn't really want to do that. The one gun that I would want to put it on is an MP5 pistol I have, and I'm going to go ahead and SBR that anyway. So I'm not worried about it. I should have bought a pistol brace for it and should have went ahead and registered it, and then I could have got the freebie short-barreled rifle so I could have put a regular stock on it. I wasn't thinking at the time, and more so, I don't really care, because when I do it, I'm probably going to do the suppressor for it at the same time, because I think it's the best suppressor host I have. And after shooting a 9mm suppressed one in Battlefield Las Vegas, and another suppressed 9mm that my friend has, who has an FFL and has all the good stuff that goes along with being that guy, and he's fully licensed and registered and all that other fun stuff. So if the ATF's listening, we're in the clear. Anyway, it was a very interesting gun to shoot. And what I noticed is suppressors are really a cool thing. I really don't understand why they're banned. I haven't thought of that. I haven't really seen a point of it being banned for a long time, because there was a point in time during the Trump era that there were people trying to pass something called the Hearing Protection Act, which would have allowed suppressors to be taken off the NFA, and Trump didn't do anything about it. In fact, we are only in the situation we're in right now with the pistol braces and everything else because Trump said, let's get rid of the guns first, or take the guns first, and then we'll deal with the problems after that. Well, he got removed or voted out. Whether you believe that or not, he's not a president right now. There's a potential he could come back. Maybe he could rectify some of his mistakes by listening to people in the media. The media has a very big bias against the 2A. And I have noticed more and more, just talking to random people. You know, I was on the job today, working at I had a call to go, a service call for the current company I'm working for, which has been a great blessing in the interim. I got an announcement today that I got my bigger job, I should say, or the one that I was looking forward towards starting. Finally got a start date. I got to do some stuff to get through that. So thank you guys for all listening to me, praying for me, doing the good stuff. You know, God is good. Beer's cold, and people are crazy. But seriously, back to what we were talking about with the 2A stuff. I'm not taking too much in the case as it was heard on Monday night for Mock v. Garland. And the reason why I say that is because it's still a long ways to go through stuff. One of the things that is kind of proving that point is I think it's the Benitez case out of California, the magazine ban that was found unconstitutional in California. And then the en banc panel went and heard the case, and they've pretty much put like an indefinite stay on finishing the case, knowing that they're going to lose. World War II has taken less time than that case has to go through its processes. What does that mean? What it means is that eventually we're probably going to win, but it's going to take a crap ton of time. And whether it's the magazine ban stuff that California's done, or it's the pistol brace stuff, we've got a long road ahead of us, and there's a lot of two-way stuff that they're going to be trying and watching. And I think based on the administrative overstep that the ATF has done, they've shown their cards, and they're going to get dealt with. Because there's a lot of other cases, specifically the Environmental Protection Agency one that I've mentioned many times on this podcast, that has shown that executive fiat or administrative fiat for the alphabet agencies doesn't go over well. It usually doesn't pass constitutional muster. And after the Heller decision and the Bruen decision, we are in the right. We just got to keep the faith, As the world keeps doing what it's doing, there's still another round of votes for Jim Jordan or whoever it is to find out who the Speaker of the House is. So the government's still not moving forward because they can't. This is a good thing. Peaceful non-compliance is a good thing. You read about that throughout history. You read about it in the Bible. You read about it about all these great people like Martin Luther King Jr. Peaceful non-compliance got things done. That's where the American people are right now. Now we're in that weird place where I could fully see something boiling over and popping off because people are getting pissed off that they're not being heard. I would caution against that because that gives the federal government more avenues to attack us physically. There will come a time, and I'm sure it will be sometime, maybe in my lifetime, that has to happen, but we're not there yet. Where's that line in the sand? I mentioned that many times on this podcast, and I honestly think that we're winning in more ways than one. When you have outright leftists coming out and now calling for strikes, and showing that they're pro-warmongers and that they're anti-Semitic. They're showing themselves more and more through the situations that the world's been going in. And that should be a beacon of hope more so than actually a black pill that makes you pessimistic. Because the more these people get turned, the more and when I say turned, the light shined on them. And their actual stances on issues start coming up, they start losing support. And you're seeing it with representatives like Ilhan Omar, and you're seeing it with AOC. People that were very much in their camp are now being exposed as outright communists, which we knew all along, and outright anti-Semitic, racist people. And this is what has to happen. I mean, the only way that you can do this is by shining a light on it, and the only way we can shine a light on it is by exposing them for what they are. Look at our governor in New Mexico. She came out as a anti-gun person. She's making national headlines in multiple places because of her stupidity, because in the end, she's going to lose. When you think about having the Attorney General of New Mexico, who is their primary charge is to hear cases for the governor, to defend them. And he came out and said, I'm not doing that for this case. That tells you we're winning, even with the left guys. So we have to keep our chin up. We're going through a rough season, as life seems to happen in seasons. I'm learning that. And what you find in those rough seasons is where your support really is. The NRA, for all the press that the mass media likes to give them, is actually not the ones doing the groundwork for us. They're not the ones that probably should be garnering your support anymore. The truth of the matter is, it's Firearms Policy Coalition. It's Gun Owners of America. In New Mexico, it's New Mexico Shooting Sports Association. These guys are the ones going to the mat. That matters. And if we're going to, put our money somewhere and we're going to support people, let's support people that don't hate us and actually do something for us. If it weren't for those companies or those organizations like FPC and GOA, we wouldn't have these cases in being even heard. because they're expensive and it takes time and it takes a lot of lawyers and red tape to get there. And that's where we're at. You know, like I said multiple times on this podcast before, it took 20 years for us to overthrow the king when we built our country. We're in that place right now. And I still have great hope seeing what I'm seeing in the headlines about the 2A, that we're going to win. And if you think about it, God's on our side. We're absolutely going to win. You look at those leftist idiots that came out and supported Hamas. And if you don't know, you know, I'm not a warmonger. I don't think we should be fighting any war, supporting it with money, because I think that just propagates the war. Any war. But if you look at what Hamas did, they attacked first. And if someone were to attack you, what would you do? Anything you could to end the threat. That's kind of what Israel's doing. But then you had people come out and say that these guys are outright good guys. You know, that Palestine and Lebanon are basically open-air prisons. Well, that was because they made it so. If they allowed them people to walk around freely, they would have attacked and killed a hell of a lot more a lot sooner. But keeping them contained in one area, you know, think about it in terms of our border. We know there's bad stuff coming across our border. We know that probably some of these terror cell guys came across the border. You know, how would we react? We would react pretty violently and swiftly, I think, especially those of us in the 2A. But what I was saying about that, you know, this gentleman that I met today, well, I haven't met him. I met him previously before. He's very nice, very well-spoken. I mean, he was at a church. And I don't know what it was about it, but he actually asked if I hunt. And then we had a conversation, you know, about 20 or 30 minutes about hunting. You know, there are a lot more people that are in our camp that kind of can tell when you see a new friend and they know you're a 2A guy. I didn't have anything on other than, you know, a polo and my normal gear. So there's nothing that was printing or showing that I was, you know, am a 2A supporter, but he felt it. And that's what I think is so great, is that there are a lot more of those supporters that are underground because they've been beaten down. It's time to be vocal. It's time to stand up. You know, right is right. You have to do what's right, no matter what it is. And if you don't believe a law is just, don't support it. At the same time, don't support the people that are making the laws or enforcing them if they're unjust. You know, it's time to hold people to their feet to the fire and say, hey, we elected you. We made you who you are. It's time to stop this stuff. With that, I'll leave it with a short one. I'm sorry I didn't get a podcast up last night. I had a late night working late and doing some tutorials on learning how to use a multimeter better. Like, share, subscribe, be great.